Hi and welcome everybody to another video, and this video is gonna be why LGBTQ plus people deserve equal rights. Looking at it from an economic perspective, I know there are multiple videos out in the YouTube space and on the internet, reasons why LGBTQ plus people deserve an equal rights from their perspective, about them being people and them being completely normal and all that, which is completely fine. And I completely agree with everything that those videos or those articles says. But I thought this part of the reasoning about from an economic point of view, why it might not get as much attention. So I thought that I would make a video relating to that. And I know I'm not a very big fan of capitalism, but the truth is, at the end of the day, we all live in a capitalistic world, so we will have to follow some of its rules. So as a result, yes, there are major economic reasons why LGBTQ plus people should be given equal rights. Reason number one would be violence against LGBTQ plus people is actually harmful for the economy. So if you create an environment where violence against LGBTQ plus people does not happen as much, or where violence against LGBTQ people is nil compared to what happens right now in multiple countries like India or Indonesia, then the LGBTQ plus population will actually be a major force in the working force. Now, for example, violence always leads to either some form of physical hurt or some form of mental hurt. Now, if you are talking about physical hurt, that physical hurt can be for a few weeks, can be for a few months, for years, or even for lifelong. And as a result, that the person cannot contribute during the time that they are experiencing that physical hurt, cannot contribute to the economic society and capitalism. As a result, they cannot work, and as a result, well, guess what, they lose out on a completely capable and trained employee. And even if the physical hurt is just for a few weeks, or if it's totally mental hurt, every one of us knows that physical hurt or physical violence has always had led to some form of mental trauma, and mental trauma can make it really hard for that person to actually concentrate on their work in their company or in their workforce or wherever they work. And that is actually harmful for, once again, the workforce. And if the mental trauma becomes too much and the person cannot deal with their mental trauma, then they might need to be admitted to some form of healthcare systems where they become a burden on an individual or a government. Now, uh, if they become a burden on the government, then they are consuming resources from the government, where at that time they can actually be providing resources to the government by working in a company, by working for the government, by working in the workforce, by creating wealth for the government. Instead, they are consuming wealth in that state. And if they become a burden on an individual, in that scenario, they're also consuming wealth from that individual directly, not from the government but from that individual. That individual now has less buying power, and as a result, they won't be contributing to the capitalist society in the terms of buying of things as much as they can previously. Now, reason number two, work discrimination. Now, work discrimination happens in a lot of ways as a result, but LGBTQ plus people might face a lot of work discrimination, and that can be harmful for actually the working environment. Because guess what? A lot of LGBTQ plus people are highly trained people, are highly educated people. Now they can actually contribute to the workforce, but if they are discriminated against the work, if they are outed in the work, and they won't be able to concentrate fully on the work, and as a result, they might contribute less than what they can actually contribute in the workforce. It's not just that, there are also a lot of other barriers. For example, due to the lack of proper documentation, if you are a transgender person, you cannot actually get a work at a private company in India, and that sucks because I have met a lot of transgender people who are actually have experience working in software development and are very talented in that field and can contribute immensely to that, but they cannot because they don't have the proper documentation, because the government will not give them total rights or equal rights. And that creates a lot of loopholes that they have to jump, and that creates a lot of hassle. And as a result, a lot of people might not be able to contribute completely to work what they would be able to if they had equal rights to that of a straight man. Not just that, 1 in 4 people in Romania, Lithuania actually faces work discrimination so much that they stop working if they're from the LGBTQ plus group. And it's not just that. In developed countries like UK and US, there have been noted that there is actually a wage gap between the gay and bisexual people within so yeah, within the queer community even there is a wage gap. So yeah, it sucks. If there were laws to prevent work discrimination from LGBTQ plus people from facing work discrimination, then they would be much more likely to actually work in an environment where they're happy and healthy, and they will be contributing to their 100%. So yeah, equal rights for LGBTQ plus people is important. Number three, healthcare. Healthcare has a long history of discriminating against LGBTQ plus people. People who have HIV and AIDS were discriminated against in when the AIDS crisis was happening, and it was called a gay-related immune deficiency disease, or GRID. So yeah, you can see how it is from the starting causing harm to the queer community. But not just that, a lot of the people does not get the proper amount of healthcare and the proper amount of medicine that they need in order to be actually free of AIDS, or not free of AIDS, to be undetectable when if they have AIDS. So if they are not undetectable at AIDS, they might not live a happy and healthy life, and they might die. So healthcare is actually a big thing. And it's not just that, it's also healthcare against transgender people when they are going through transitioning. If they does not transition, they might not be completely happy, and they might always face body dysmorphia. And as a result, once again, they might not be fully attentive to their work and control, because a lot of LGBTQ plus people, because of the discrimination that they face, might get addicted to alcohol, some substance, or might end up causing harm to themselves. And as a result, they become a burden on the healthcare system as a result. And as number four, education. Now, LGBTQ plus people face a lot of discrimination in the education, and I have personally felt that. So yeah, through they felt discrimination throughout by teacher, by student, and as a result, they might be discouraged from pursuing higher degrees or uh, future education. And as a result, they might end up working in a low job field because they do not have the educational qualification. Whereas if they had gone through their education completely and completed their education, they might have become a highly skilled person and might have contributed to the society in a lot of ways. So yeah. Now, fifth and the final reason that I'm going to give here is that buying power. Now, gays have a lot more buying power than their straight individual counterparts. And here's how. A straight man wants to probably get married, wants to probably have kids, and then wants to probably have a house to live in. So as a result, they are spending a lot of money on their marriage. They will be spending a lot of money on their kids, in educating them, in buying them things, buying the kids the things they need, and all of that. And they will also be buying house, so they will be taking up home loans. But here's something. A gay guy in India does not have the right to marry, so they might not end up marrying. So they are not wasting any money on marriage. Number two, if they're not getting married, they probably will not want to have kids, because single father usually are not given kids in India by adoption, maybe through surrogacy, but not a lot of people will want to go through that because that has a lot of its hassle on its own. So as a result, they are not spending money on the kids because they are not raising kids. And that leaves the only one thing, which is the house. And yeah, sure, they might end up buying a house because they want to live, they want to have a place to live after they retire, so fine. But since they are not spending that much money on marriage and kids, they will be able to save up a lot more money than their straight counterparts. So as a result, they might not even actually need to take up housing loan, or they might need to take up a less portion of the housing loan, and as a result to buy stuff. So as you can see, there is a disproportion between the gay and the straight counterparts. Gays have a lot more buying power than their straight counterparts. A lot of single gay guys of the cities actually does not want those things that a married couple necessarily wants. So as a result, yeah, you cannot sell them housing loans and college loans for their students and all that. So as a result, yeah, just because you're not giving gays equal rights, you're missing out on a lot of income from the gays. And yes, sure, because they have higher buying power, they could actually end up buying more in terms of temporary goods, which are like clothing, mm, vacation, and all that stuff, which is fine once again, but there is so much that you can actually sell to a person that is vacation clothing, yeah, giving them the equal rights might actually shift them to a much more family oriented person. So gays, instead of living the life that they have, they might become much more family oriented, or they might want to marry, they might want to have kids, and as a result you will bring a certain portion of the LGBTQ population into the system that you have already built as a capitalist. So yeah, until you do that, you're gonna have to find a new system to sell things to gays. So yeah, and a lot of people have not been able to figure out. Just for a perspective, like since 2015, when gay marriage was legalized in USA, gay marriage single-handedly have LGBTQ plus marriage single-handedly have contributed $3.8 billion to the US economy. That's a lot of money. And I actually made a reel on that on my Instagram. My Instagram is linked below, by the way. So yeah, give gays equal rights because it is at the end of the day profitable for you. There is a reason why each and every company actually changes their logo to a pride flag or some form of that in the month of June, because it's Pride Month. Guess what? Marketing to gays is actually good because gays have a lot more buying power than the straight counterpart. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and this video is a little longer, but hey, I like this video. I don't know what I'm saying, but if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Other videos around there in the I think, I don't know which side is that, but yeah, anyone. Yeah, so go watch more of my videos because it helps me. Thank you.